The following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
And we are live. What's up, y'all? What's up? I am K Double, and this here sits Alpha. And for the second consecutive week, for the first time in a long time, we are here to bring you the Cheap Pop Podcast. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Consistent scheduling on the episodes? What?
What's up?
Consistent scheduling on the episode pattern?
What?
Fucking unheard of.
Oh my god. All right, y'all. So what's up, y'all? So we got a lot to talk about this week. Second half is going to be pretty good, too. Got a little bit of wrestling to talk about, some ideas on some things. But we're going to open up. I just literally, about 20 minutes ago, right now I'm watching one of my favorite all-time shows that's not on anymore, which is the show Leverage. But I'll get to that a little bit later on another episode.
Snacks?
I just got done watching Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and it is genuinely a great movie. Like it brings
fresh in the mind. Give me your 1 to 10.
My 1 to 10. I'll give it an 8 for two reasons.
Okay.
One of my favorite thing about all Kevin Smith movies is playing on the fact that these people are acting and doing everything as if they are real people living in an actual universe. You know, a real live world, and their self-awareness that they're in a movie. You know, like it just makes for great comedic timing. It makes for great stuff. But this whole movie was pretty much surrounded around Harley Quinn Smith. And that for those of you who don't know, that is Kevin Smith's daughter. But here's the twist, and this is the only twist I'll give you. I'll let you watch the movie for the rest. In the movie, she actually plays Jay's daughter. And actually looks a lot like him. So
wait, so the daughter of Kevin Smith plays the daughter of Jay?
Yes, in the movie, she plays the daughter of Jay.
Okay. Oh, no, wait, I'm stupid. I got switch around. Never mind, we're good. Keep going.
Yeah. Like Jay and Silent Bob, she plays Jay's daughter. And like I said, ironically, she looks a lot like him. But yeah, overall, it was a great movie. Real feel-good movie. Make you smile. I would definitely suggest watching it to anybody that's a fan of Kevin Smith's movies. Like, Jay's actually telling the stories to his daughters of the adventures he's lived through his life, and basically he's running through every Kevin Smith movie. He's telling her...
Did the guys from Clerks show up?
Yes, the original cast did, and what was hilarious is when they showed up, they were all in black and white. But pretty much
one of my favorite things about Clerks 2 was when he opens the garage door for the store and it switches from black and white to full color.
Yeah. Or at the beginning of Clerks, when he opens up the thing and it's all friggin' flames and all the flames are in color, but he and everything around it is still in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's funny though, because it's like if you watch movies for a second and a third time, you start noticing like plot devices or things like, I'll give a prime example. I was just talking about that show Leverage. There's a scene in the pilot episode, right, where Christian Kane, he plays a hitter named Elliot, right? And like they're in this situation where Aldous Hodge, who plays Alec Hardison, is stuck in a situation where he's holding this duffel bag and he's been cornered by security at this building that they're breaking into. And he's holding up this duffel bag in the air, and out comes Elliot from behind him, right? He's ran around the corner and snuck up behind him. And as soon as Elliot takes a step and he lines up behind him, Aldous Hodge or Hardison drops the bag, right? And what was so impressive about this shot now, like fifth time that I've seen it, is basically as soon as he lets go of the bag, Elliot starts to go to work on these four dudes holding guns. Before the bag hits the ground, Elliot's dropped all four dudes.
Ooh.
And I love how the bag was used as kind of a plot device to show you exactly how badass this dude is. Because he beat the shit out of four armed dudes and dropped them all before the bag hit the floor. Before a duffel bag hit
like
the
the first
floor.
time you watch it, it's sort of like, damn, that's badass. And the second time, it's like, no, wait. That was a literal measure to show how fast the motherfucker was.
Exactly. So it was quite interesting to see that. But needless to say, yeah, there are plenty of things that are used like that in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot that kind of take you back to the old days. Like almost all of the same characters are there. The only characters that really weren't there, at least I didn't see them, that didn't reprise their roles from the first Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is Elijah Dushku and Ali Lauder didn't come back. Because I guess supposedly they're still in jail.
I'm sorry.
No problem. But Shannon Elizabeth came back to reprise her role. Oh, Will Ferrell didn't come back for this one either. But Chris Hemsworth makes a special guest appearance.
I'll take that.
Who else does? I'm trying to think of all the people that were in it. Ben Affleck's in it. Joey Lauren.
Good.
Joey Lauren Adams is in it. I don't know if you remember her from Chasing Amy. She was the lesbian in Chasing Amy. Yeah, she's back.
Shit.
But they bring back Jason Lee, but not the black guy that from Jay and from the end of Strike Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody said Jason Lee is funny as shit, dude.
Yeah,
I love him.
They also bring back Vanderbeek and Jason Biggs. Matt Damon makes a special guest appearance as well. Chris Rock isn't in this one. And like I said, Kevin Smith plays himself in the movie. He plays himself and he plays Silent Bob. So, needless to say, like I said, excellent movie. Made me laugh all the way through. Glad I watched it. They even bring back the two kids from that Jay almost beats up because they talk shit about the time in the first movie.
No shit, really?
Yeah, they brought them back. They're now. Yeah, I'll let you see what the end result is, but yeah.
They've always been really good at it. Like I didn't find out until like my second time watching Tusk that in Tusk they stopped at like a gas station or some shit, and there's two teenage cashiers behind the desk, and one of them is Kevin Smith's daughter, but the other is actually Johnny Depp's daughter, I think.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, so they're really good at hiding in those little cameo roles like that and leaving them sprinkled into their movies. So I wouldn't expect anything less from them at that point.
But I guess they couldn't get Mark Hamill to do this. Oh. And I'm sorry, I hate to. Yeah, in the best scene in movie, it's It's okay. So the whole thing about the movie is that they're going to now stop another movie from being made, but that's because they're doing BVC, Blunt Man v Chronic, right? Instead of Batman v Superman, it's Blunt Man v Chronic, right? But in this version of the movie, Val Kilmer is Blunt Man. Melissa Benoist plays Chronic. and Tommy Chong plays Alfred.
No.
Yes, man. Okay, I won't give you any more of the scene, but it's just one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Like it just truly is.
Now you had me at Tommy Chong. That's it.
Yeah, he's my hero too. One of my
favorites. Gonna be golden.
Oh yeah. So needless to say, go out and watch it. I watched it for free. If you have Amazon Prime Video, you can watch it on Prime Video for free. So, but you can't watch any of the other good movies. Oh, that was the other cameo too. And Method Man and Redman make a cameo in the movie.
Fucking serious?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
That's such an obscure cameo, but I love that.
Like, well, it's based off of the fact that at one point in the movie, Jay says that him and Silent Bob based their whole lives off of fucking Jamal and Cyrus from How High. So,
bunch of obscure ass references, huh?
Yep. So, needless to say, yeah. And I've watched How High too, and
that
movie was just not worth watching. But anyway, so okay.
Yeah, that's what you talked about before. I remember now. Yeah.
So we both recently. Well, you want to do your review of Underwater before we start into the whatchamacallit?
Oh, Big Show, you want me to do that first?
Yeah, sure, we can do that first.
Recently, I've been sat down to witness the new movie Underwater, and I didn't know it by name for the longest time. I literally knew it as the movie that which Kristen Stewart cut her hair and starred in, until my mom was like, you got to check this shit out. Like, you have to watch this movie. And I was like, all right, fine. All right. So the movie gives you literally like 30 seconds worth of exposition and jumps straight into the action.
Nice.
They give you an introduction of she's in a facility 7 miles under the water, very, very, very deep below under the sea in a drilling station, and she's just a computer technician that works there.
Okay.
The whole place starts to just collapse and fall apart and fuck up in multiple places, which leads her and a core group of survivors of the station. Among them is the captain of the station, who's played by this incredibly charming Australian dude who's like this huge badass throughout the whole film. But it's this core group of people just trying to get out of the station.
Okay.
It is not much more complicated than that until you get to see like the antagonist, or the closest thing you have to that in a horror movie, of course. But it did straight into the intense action and choices of someone that they would have to make in that sort of situation. And as it goes on, you don't even see like the actual monster of the film until you're like 75% of the way through it. But it spends a lot of time building it up, and every single death leading up to the end there's only a few deaths in the movie. There's only like 6 people. And the handful of deaths that do happen, full spoilers ahead, they're used as a stepping stone to sort of show how fucked up things are getting and escalating as time goes on.
Fair enough. And
I thought, like, as someone who's played a lot of violent video games and watched a lot of movies, you think you're desensitized to this shit until you got to see T.J. Miller die. All right. it is like the death scenes in that movie will make you stop and like, fuck, that's deep, that's dark, and it's morbid, and it's hard. But it really, to me, just showed Kristen Stewart's range as an actor now.
Nice.
She spends a lot of the movie freaking out and reacting to things, and it seems like she's genuinely mortified at the situation around her.
Maybe she's just mortified from having to be in that movie. No, I'm messing with you.
You see that part where she's scared, though? She's not even like... That's just pure method acting. She's just thinking about her time in Twilight.
Oh, damn.
Kristen Stewart really showed off her chops as an actor over time. Like, nobody hates the Twilight movies more than Kristen Stewart and fucking...
Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
And she shaved her hair for this role, and she has a completely different look with glasses, and she comes off like a complete badass by the end of it. And
she's trying to be the new Ripley.
Exactly. She's a good final girl, as we call it.
Okay.
She's a good final girl.
Nice.
But it's really cool because the whole movie ends on an okay note, and as the credits are going, through the credits in the background, they show you that the government, like after it all happened, covered up the whole situation, and they black ops it.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's got one of those like somber ass endings, and I'm not gonna dig too deep into the like reveal, but it's definitely safe to go in expecting like old Great One sort of H.P. Lovecraft.
Okay.
mythos, and it is really, really interesting. And if you're into the really jumpy, not like jump scary, but very meticulously slow and suspenseful horror, then Underwater is definitely the movie for you, because it is intense from start to fucking finish.
There you go.
As someone who's only just really getting into more horror movies into like the last 4 years, it is respectable and scared the fuck out of me a few times. So 8 out of 10, would watch again. Do it.
All right, there you go. All right, so now we're going to talk about something that both of us have had a chance to watch. But first, I'm going to throw you a curveball. So, you know that I think I told you, I mentioned this a few weeks ago on the shows, that I've picked up a PlayStation 4 finally. And recently I have purchased a 5 terabyte external hard drive for said PlayStation 4.
Ooh, that's a good shit.
So, I've recently gone on a small binge of downloading games. So recently, of course, I have the show 18. I'm planning on getting the show 20, but at $60 a pop, I'm going to have to wait. Like my next 2 paychecks that I get, I'll go ahead and get it. But
save up a little bit.
Same thing with the Final Fantasy one. But I did pick up Spider-Man because it was on sale for $19.99. And it was a bundle pack that came with like 3 DLCs.
Oh man, Spider-Man on the PS4 is such a fucking...
Oh yeah, I started playing it. It was the Game of the Year edition is what it was.
Good shit.
I also just last night, and it just finished recently, when we get done recording this, I'm going to go ahead and start playing some of them. But I also downloaded last night Mortal Kombat X. And it was a bundle package with Gran Turismo Sport.
Damn, you got a steal, didn't you?
No. The bundle, the Gran Turismo Sport was $22. The Mortal Kombat X was $5.99.
MKX is still really good. Like, as someone who's really into fighting games, I can tell you that MK11, even though it is newer, a lot of people do prefer MKX for its fighting mechanics. They run a little bit smoother, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the story mode for MKX is fun as hell. Like, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I got fooled by the download thing again last night. It told me the game was ready to play, so I jumped out of my NBA 2K20 that I was playing. Which, by the way, the My Career mode, worth playing. Worth every bit of it. Unfortunately, you do spend like 90% of the beginning part of it not playing, but just kind of like watching shit. And I don't mean watching a gameplay. I mean like watching like storyline stuff. But overall, it's pretty good. Like, the storyline itself is pretty dope, and it's pretty deep. Like, you're this kid who went to 4 years of college, but because you stood up, you didn't play your senior year and didn't end up getting drafted because you take a stand because one of your teammates was dropped from his scholarship because he gets injured. So you sit out the NCAA tournament and don't play.
I like that.
And your team ends up losing in the first round because you sit out. Because you were their best player. And so it's quite a deep little storyline, and you come from and so you work your way up, and then you go through the draft process, and they introduce you to shoe people, and you got to decide whether or not you want to do their contract with them, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Only thing I'm mad about is I've pumped almost 50,000 VC into this character, and I'm barely an 82.
Yeah, the newer 2K games will devalue those VC points that you put into your character to the point where it's like you'll get the max VC you can from a certain activity, and you won't even be able to really allocate that anywhere well at all.
Oh man,
it's a system they use to make you play the game more. It's pretty trashy. I hope they drop that system at the next 2K game.
Well, I remember in the first round of 2K games, it used to be like you got so much VC, especially when you had a lot of stats. You got like 1,200, 1,500 VC. You know what I'm saying? When you got good stats, like you put up 50 in a game and 14 assists or whatever, you get like 2,000 VC. Now it's like maybe 1,100 if you're lucky. Most likely like 900.
Exactly. Oh, if it isn't. Yeah, we should probably talk about that. If it isn't too much for me to bring up, did you hear what happened to 2K 2021?
What do you mean, for WWE or NBA?
Oh, for WWE.
Oh, what's that?
Canceled.
Really?
Because of the backlash from 2K20, 2021 is canceled.
I don't know about that, bro, because 2K just recently had me working on some stuff for 2K21. So I got to look that up, because that was the project that I was working on, that I was doing the script stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
Was for 2K21.
Yeah, from what I heard, officially they axed it.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. That might be why they haven't sent me any new work.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
You know, like I said, I got bumped off the whatchamacallit mid-March, and my homeboy's like, well, we got a video job coming up here. I'm gonna recommend you for it, and I ain't heard nothing since. That might be wise, because the whole thing for 2021 got canceled. Wow. Well, you know what? 2K20 is, at least on the Xbox, it's not that bad of a game. I was just playing it last night. I was doing my. Here's how lazy I was the other night. I was playing my 2K20, right, on the Xbox, and I was watching it. Like, I've been gotten into this thing where I'm all about watching my video games play themselves as opposed to me actually playing them. And it was actually some pretty good matches, right? I watched Raw, watched all the Raw matches. Went to go start watching the SmackDown matches, and looked down. I was like, "Oh, SmackDown's on Tuesday nights. I should move it to Friday nights." There's no option within the universe thing for you to just move it from Tuesdays to Saturdays. So I would literally have to delete the entire SmackDown roster and thing from Tuesday, and then open up and do another major show on Friday, and re-put all those people on the roster.
Exactly. As in, you would have to make SmackDown all over again, except on a separate day rather than just moving it.
Right. I'm like, why can't I just go in and say, okay, yeah, it was on Tuesdays, but now I want it to be on Fridays, and have it be like that? But yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do that in 19, because I play the shit out of 19 consistently, because 2020 took away so much shit. But
yeah, it did. It really stripped down the game a lot.
It did. It broke down to its bare bones. I'm not too happy about that, because I fuck with the creation system so much, and I do so much with it. Like, I need all those little assets, damn it, you know?
I know what you're saying.
But, no, yeah, man. MKX especially is a really, really good grab there. Gran Turismo, too, if you're really, really big on car games.
Oh, I am huge on car games. And the bundle package with the Gran Turismo is it came with the top 10 cars of 2018, according to some car measurement place.
Ooh.
So yeah, I don't know if I automatically get those cars, because I automatically got a Toyota something for turning on the game, and I haven't even raced my first race. I just set it all up because it wasn't done downloading. But I'll tell you this though, bro, I'm gonna be collecting a lot of games, especially considering the fact that I haven't even gotten up over 300 gigs of the 4,600 gigs that I have total.
I got you. I will recommend you games up the ass. Don't worry. I'm big on the. I play both of my consoles equally, but I definitely have the most heaviest of my content on my PS4. I keep my Xbox for very specific games, like Bethesda games, so I can run mods correctly.
Oh man, I went and got what was it? Yeah, I'll say I plan on filling that up with. I went and got the 2 free games. I got there was like 4 free games that they did total, and 2 I got the Uncharted one. I put Uncharted 4 and Dirt in my library, but I haven't downloaded them yet.
Okay.
And then, but I did download the Uncharted series, the Drake whatever series.
Yeah, they put out the whole Uncharted collection though. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I got that because it was free. It was free to download, so I was like, fuck it, why not?
Exactly, when I grabbed that shit. No, the month before they had Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
The completely remastered. I nabbed that shit so quick.
Hell yeah. Bro, I'm about to invest in another 5 terabyte hard drive for my fucking Xbox as well. There's a couple games on there I wouldn't mind downloading. They always give away free games every month too.
Exactly. With the current generation of gaming, it's just best to stack up on as much memory as you can, considering the base models give you such a lackluster amount of memory. I will always preach that shit. There is nothing like getting my first PS4, downloading like 4 games, and it being like, all right, I'm full.
Yep. Somebody told me that. Yeah, I'm like, dude, look. Like I said, I'm gonna want. Oh, that's the last thing I gotta buy is a PS4 controller. I also had to recently buy a better keyboard and mouse for my tower since I got that new music program because I plan to start working on some new tracks.
Yeah, boy, get that shit.
Well, I'm also going to invest in a mixing board, a new mixing board. I have one, but I want another one. But anyway.
Hell yeah, dude. Can't wait to see what you put out.
Sure. It won't be anything too fancy.
Watch. You got a Sony record deal. All right, you want to dig into Big Show?
Yeah, okay, hold on. Official from Google and Tech Radar. WWE 2K21 is canceled as WWE has announced that 2K Games will not release a WWE game this year. During a recent WWE quarterly investor call via Polygon, the company's interim chief financial officer, Frank Riddick, reportedly said there's not going to be a launch of a game this year.
Yeah, wow. I think it'll be the first time in 2021, 22 years that we haven't had the annual WWE game release.
Yeah.
Dating all the way back to No Mercy and Backstage Brawl and shit.
Wow, that's insane. Oh well. Say que sera. Hopefully we'll get you back in 22.
Shit, if it means they're going to spend all that time working towards better ideas for a better game, then I'm not tripping.
Exactly. I'm not tripping at all. All right, so yeah, on to the Big Show. It was only 8 episodes, but I genuinely liked it.
I really liked it.
I did. That little girl, the youngest one, oh my God, she had me dying. She had me on the floor laughing plenty of times.
Exactly like that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Big Show sitcom is the deepest, most nuanced thing that has ever been written. but
there was some deepness to it. There was some nuance to it.
There was some genuine, like, some swerves and some tactics that they pulled out of their ass that I didn't expect. I expected a run-of-the-mill sitcom, and they presented it as such, but then immediately, like, they gave each and every character their own little quirks that was still different from what I've seen before. And I enjoyed every little of the little wrestling references. Like, it is a show that is definitely meant to be watched as a wrestling fan, but
yeah,
you watch it and it's like within the first 5 minutes, Big Show is like, oh, Mick Foley used to let me braid his hair.
Yep.
And then later on, he's making a fucking Scooby-Doo sized sandwich and he's singing Bray Wyatt's theme and shit. The best.
What else was it? Well, the fact of when, like, the episode when Mark Henry, Mick Foley, and Rikishi all show up. Yeah. That episode was pretty cool. The relationship with...
No, when Terry was like, Undertaker's into real estate, why don't you do it?
Yeah. No shit. His wife, like the interactions between him and his wife, like I will never in my life get over watching Mick Foley, Rikishi, and Mark Henry sing the Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. I don't think that's a moment I'll ever get over in my life, and it was just one of the greatest mark out things I've ever seen in my life. The relationship between the episode with the youngest girl's, not the youngest girl's, but the oldest girl's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And him being a big wrestling fan and hanging out with Show and going to the batting cages and all that. Just little moments like that made this show something special. Like, it just really was. I hope it gets renewed for a second season.
Yeah. Like, I can tell they very much enjoyed shooting the show.
Yeah.
And every little angle was genuinely something that I didn't find boring.
Right.
Like I actually was genuinely laughing at a bunch of the shit that they would pull in the show. Like the fact that when the middle sister was looking at her bobbleheads and she touches the Hillary Clinton one. She's like, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, go back.
Oh man, no! I have to say though, my favorite scene, the scene that just sent chills down my spine of love, was when they were doing the wrestling match in the season finale, and she goes, "Oh no, it's the Little Show," and the little girl comes out in the Big Show garb. But if you listen to the song, it's a little kid screaming, "Oh no, it's the Little Show!" Dying, dude.
His theme, but littleified, bro.
Oh, it was great.
My favorite thing is that, like, his kids and his wife, you never hear them refer to him as anything other than just Show.
Right. It just Show.
Like, for all intents and purposes, he is the Big Show and just the Big Show and nothing.
They don't call him Paul. I love the fact that Jaleel White's back to work again. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jaleel White as his best friend. It's one of the two shows that I'll recommend from Netflix right now. That one, and then there's another show on Netflix called Mr. Iglesias.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like Gabriel Iglesias' stand-up, you'll enjoy this show, because there are certain jokes that are littered here and there from his stand-up, but it's not like other comedian sitcoms when the whole show is just peppered with their jokes. You know, pretty much every major scene in the show is one of their jokes. It's not like that. It's just, he's literally just a substitute teacher, or he's literally just a teacher at this school. It's about his interactions with the kids and the rest of the staff. And it's actually a pretty good movie, a pretty good show.
Like, as someone who like really like watched Fluffy blow up in like 2014, 2013.
Yeah.
And knowing all of his OG content, it must be cool to be like watching that and seeing all the little small references to his stand-up that he hasn't touched in years.
Oh yeah. And then, like I said, overall, it's a really good show. But Netflix, hey man, that's your gig. It's coming up with original content. You know, now since you can't knock the movies or nab the movies anymore, because pretty much everybody who makes major movies is coming up with their own streaming app.
Fucking honestly.
You know, so like, you know, maybe that can be Netflix thing, is they can continue to provide this original content, movies and shows. Because I still actually want to watch that show. I think it's called The Main Event. That movie with the little black kid.
You want to know something?
Who puts on the mask and becomes super strong and super fast?
Don't quote me on this. I think I might have heard somewhere that's based off of Leo Rush.
Really?
Or Leo Rush had some input on that somewhere. Don't quote me on that. I heard that somewhere. I'll research it though.
But how about this? Since we watched the Big Show for this week's show, why don't we watch that for next week's show, and we'll check in on that.
Dealio. I'm with
I
it.
believe the name of the movie is The Main Event. Let me look it up on my Netflix app real quick.
Yeah, it's The Main Event. That's the one that I've actually been thinking about watching anyway, so you caught it right at the perfect time.
Awesome. But yeah, man. So what you got? You got a little Alphas editions for us today?
I do. And I do it.
Yes. Thank you all. And welcome to this week's edition of Alphas Editions. Go.
Let's go. All right. So sometimes here on Alphas Editions, I will present something to you, and other times I want some friction between my boy K Double and I. And what I mean by that is, like, I want to disagree with you. I want you to make a case for something. So that's what we're going to do today. And I want you to give me your case for the best gaming soundtrack of all time.
Ooh.
Like, what is the single best game with the best soundtrack on the face of this planet? You have to pick one.
Ooh. All right, I'm going to have to say this. Go for it.
I was going to say, do you want me to go first so that you have some more time to think on it?
Yeah, give me a little bit more time to think on it.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to put you on the spot too much, so go ahead. But personally, for me, I really, really adored No More Heroes 1 and 2, and I really adored Mad World. I feel like those games have amazing soundtracks because No More Heroes is written by a Japanese man obsessed with American culture.
Yeah.
So you see like this weird version of American culture through the eyes of someone who is like obviously not born and raised within American culture.
Right.
And it comes off really cool, and you end up having like rap songs in Japanese, and you have all these different songs suited for each boss that's set to their intensity. But Mad World has this whole soundtrack all done by one band and one person.
All right.
And so for the longest time, I thought it was one of those two games that was my favorite soundtrack of all time. But then 2 summers before the last, I went back and I bought the Rare Replay, which is a fat collection of old-ass games that you can play on your Xbox One.
Okay.
And so I went back and I challenged myself, and I was like, all right, I'm going to grab this title as a kid that I was never able to beat, and I'm not going to beat these games. I'm going to 100% them.
Okay.
I'm going to do everything there is possible to do them until it says 100%. And so I picked up Banjo and Kazooie and Banjo Tooie, and I was like, I'm going to challenge myself. And so I ended up with a little over like 40 hours in each of the games, and I did 100% them. And I'm sorry, but my favorite game soundtrack of all time is Banjo Tooie.
Nice.
Like, nothing hits that melodical, childlike, perfect groove that those tracks hit.
All right.
You can look at any of the worlds from either of those games. Banjo Tooie is just mwah. That is the shit from the hub world to the beginning to the final level. Every theme is a goddamn banger. Every single one.
All right.
Irrefutable.
So I'm gonna take your question, and I'm gonna take it over my knee, and I'm gonna break it into 2 different categories. I'm gonna break it. All right.
Do it.
All right. So, category 1 is pure score. Okay. Okay. Now, my favorite game of all time, pure score, is the original Legend of Zelda. Okay. That game, amazing, like engulfed in the game. Like the music that played when you were just walking around town was even amazing. Okay, for an 8-bit game and the score of music that it had, beautiful. You know, it was Final Fantasy level scores on like really like one of the first Final Fantasy type games we all played.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now actual music, the original Gran Turismo. Only Happy When It Rains. Fucking like, man, like I could put that in my car and listen to that while I'm driving down the street and be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but when I ask that question, the most common answer is Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, fair enough.
Yep.
I wasn't really a big Tony Hawk game player, so like the soundtrack doesn't really necessarily sit high in my head because I never really played the game a lot, so I didn't necessarily get to experience the entire soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. I see. That's fair. It was like quintessential like garage band rock mixed with streamlined new metal, and I pretty enjoyed it.
Wait, you want to know
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
One of the best original like BGMs I ever heard was, I believe it was Madden 2004. Okay, where they actually had a radio station that played in the like a sports talk radio station that played in this background. This Jim Rome type guy would be talking about your team and some of the games that like some of the shit that happened, and people would call in actually talking about some of the shit that happened in your game. Like I remember once, like my quarterback threw for like 400 yards, and like somebody called in, and he was like, "Yeah, who are you, listener?" He's like, "Oh, I'm so and so. You know, I can't believe." And he says my quarterback's name. I believe at that point it was like Alex Smith or something like that. It's like I can't believe Alex Smith really threw for over 400 yards and 4 TDs in that game. He's like, "Yeah, man, that was epic." As the 49ers crushed the Titans, I was just like, "See, that's dope." Like intuitive.
That's some next level immersion right there.
You know, intuitive AI that creates a fucking radio station, you know, a sports talk radio station off of these audio clips based off of what's happening in your like sports universe. That's just amazing to me.
That's some shit. I'll give you that. Another one that comes to mind is Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
But specifically Crash Bandicoot to Insanity. The entire game, from start to finish, the entire soundtrack is an acapella.
Damn, hell yeah.
Not a single instrument is used. It is a very specific band, and like they're able to convey completely different areas, despite being stuck with nothing but their voices to project that, and it's some pretty interesting shit, at least.
Nice. All right, so now a little bit off the video game subject. One more thing before we get away. Like I mentioned earlier, I have been watching rewatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were some of the best written storylines. It's confusing as it was. When you go back and watch it a second time, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I know I mentioned it to both Saint and Mr. Suave from West Coast Bias. You know how weird it is going back and rewatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from episode 1 knowing that Ward was Hydra the whole time?
Because now you can... Sorry?
Well, yeah, because obviously, I've watched it before, but here was the thing with it, okay? I harken back, so I was watching season 2 after Ward has already been outed as Hydra, right? And he says this line to Daisy, where she's like, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. is there to protect people, and he goes, see, that's that's always going to be a major difference between Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. He goes, while S.H.I.E.L.D. is looking to talk to somebody and find the good in them, Hydra takes the shot. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It immediately brought me back to, I think it was like episode 1 or episode 2 when they introduced J. Augustus Richards as Deathlock, the guy that eventually becomes Deathlock.
Yeah.
Right? When they introduce him,
mm-hmm.
while Phil Coulson is sitting there trying to talk him down and prevent him from exploding and get him to calm down, Ward takes the shot. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, when you go back and you watch it again...
So it all makes sense now.
Yeah, right. You begin to see some of those little itty-bitty things like that. And it's hilarious to me. Not to mention the fact that I'm now midway through the 3rd season, and it's funny seeing the woman that's the wife in Black Lightning right now, right, is one
mm-hmm.
of the S.H.I.E.L.D., one of the top S.H.I.E.L.D. people after S.H.I.E.L.D. falls. At the beginning of season 2, she's one of the top S.H.I.E.L.D. people.
Is she playing a different character? Or
yeah, she's a completely different character. No, she's a completely different character.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, completely different character, but same actress. And in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she has a British accent.
That must be weird watching fucking that shit back to back then.
But okay, so getting to this week's episode, because thank God after a 3-week hiatus, Flash and DC's Legends came back. Long story short, I really enjoyed Flash this week. A lot of heartfelt stuff. A lot of Joe realizing that Barry can't necessarily save him like he did before. Always, because they're basically trying to create a Speed Force so that Barry doesn't have to lose all of his speed, because Barry, unfortunately, when he took Spectre into the Speed Force, or when Spectre took him into the Speed Force, Spectre left behind a poison that ended up killing the Speed Force. So now all the speedsters in the world are slowly losing their speed.
That's interesting. I'll take that.
Yeah, so right now with Cisco...
I've always loved the idea that Spectre is not good or bad, just sort of not to be fucked with.
Right. Well, Spectre is the one that kills the Anti-Monitor. But needless to say, yeah. So they're trying to build him a new Speed Force. But the scene for me is that it came together between the last scenes of the show and the next scene. So they've already told us, storyline wise, that Iris is not Iris. Iris is some person from some mirror dimension that's trying to get something to bring this lady back that's living in the mirror dimension. And so far, they've taken over like 3 people and replaced them with these mirror people. Okay? But Barry does, I forget what Barry did. Like, Barry does something in the episode, and he ends up pissing off Iris, and Iris basically kicks him out. All right? She's like, get out. I can't believe you did this without consulting me. You almost killed my father. Da-da-da. Get out. Right? And so Barry leaves. But then in the next thing, you see it, and Barry's like, that's not Iris. But you can see, like, once you see the little after thing, you can see the moment, if you watch the scene, when Barry realizes, wait a minute, this isn't Iris. Like, something's wrong here. Like, and it's in the moment when Iris is kicking him out. It's like, it's a very intricate scene. It's great. But that was that. Now, Legends of Tomorrow had a heavy supernatural influence. And I don't mean Ghost, people. I mean the show, Supernatural. In order to find one of the rings that they're trying to find, they have to go to the set where they shoot Supernatural. And so, like, the first person that picks up on this is Sarah. All right? And so, like, she's like, whoa, this is where they shoot Supernatural. Cool. She goes, I hope the cast is on set. Like, that'd be great. Like, would love to meet those guys. And she's like, why are you so... And, like, Charlie's like, why are you so excited? Like, Charlie's never heard of Supernatural. So Charlie's like, why are you so excited about this? And she's... I forget which one he said, which brother she says, but she says... Sarah says one of the brothers from Supernatural is her hall pass. Okay? And so, yeah, it's a great episode. Like, there's a scene where Constantine is looking for the ring, and he actually comes across the Supernatural car. And, like, opens it up. Dope. Like, yeah, it's a lot of references to Supernatural, but it's a great episode of DC Legends. Where
Had to be fucking Constantine. I get that.
You get to meet the final of the 3 sisters. And the show is a little bit different without Brandon Routh. It just is. Like, I forgot what show I was watching the other day. I think it was Leverage. But, like, I randomly was like, I saw the actress and I was like, and she's like, you're going to be working with so-and-so. I was like, oh, look, it's Nora Dark. You know, like, before she was Nora Dark.
I haven't known Nora Dark.
Yeah, from now on, you will be Nora Dark.
My full namesake. You are Nora Dark.
But yeah.
That's some shit, though. It's always fun seeing that, especially back-to-back like that.
But it was a great episode, needless to say. So, yeah, we'll get an episode for another couple of weeks. But I did see that they've announced the start date for Stargirl, and it's gonna be Stargirl, the new show that's coming on. You didn't hear about that?
I did not.
On CW, I forget who the actress is that's playing Stargirl, but she's the daughter of Starman from the Justice Society of America.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Did they say of fucking Earth 2?
And what's hilarious is that she actually shows up in an older form in the episode of Legends, in the early seasons of Legends, in the episode when they go back and they face the Justice Society of America.
It's fucking dope. I dig it. I'll look into that.
So Stargirl starts on May 12th. So we'll be reviewing that once it hits as well.
Hell yeah.
But all right, so that's it for the pop culture for right now. We'll get to a little bit more next week. Other than that, we're gonna take this.
Wait, second halftime.
Yep, it's halftime. We're gonna take that commercial break and come back, and we're gonna talk a little wrestling with you. Wrestling.
Hell yeah.
Yes. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you may find your favorite podcasts.
Interruption in progress. Now hijacking into ANS 2.0 immersion rig. Now simulating the amazing nerd show. Featuring comics.
And Batman's like, you're safe here and everything, but the Joker all of a sudden pulls out a gun and shoots himself.
Movies.
People fight with lightsabers. What the hell do you want? I mean, in every one of these movies, there's a lightsaber battle.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna rewatch it a million times.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, give me something more.
Wrestling.
That would be awesome. Oh my god, just a monster. Fans would be like, holy, what the hell's going on? What happened to Jericho?
Horror.
It starts off like any other like home invasion type of story, and then it just goes crazy.
And more.
Hey, this is Christian.
Hey, this is Damon.
And we are the Amazing Nerd Show.
Make sure to download us on all your favorite podcast platforms.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the Ghosts of the Stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Hello. Sorry, this is one of my favorite episodes of Leverage. Christian Kane, I don't know if you know him. Did you ever watch the series Angel? The spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Oh, no. I've seen
Boreanaz?
promotional art, so if it's the main character, I know who you're talking about.
Well, he was a secondary character to David Boreanaz, but he was a main part of the crew for like almost all 5 years. I think he came in the second year and was there. He played a lawyer for the evil law firm. But he pretty much turned. Okay. He ended up fighting with Angel at the end, or he ended up dying. But he ends up fighting with Angel on the side of good by the end of it. But Christian Kane, he plays Elliot on Leverage. But it's an episode with MMA where he beats the shit out of like these 6 MMA fighters. Like they try to corner him and fucking try to kick his ass, and he just starts dumping fools left and right. And I'm just like, yeah, get him, kid.
Absolute Chad. Absolute Chad.
Pretty much. But anyway, so, I'm beginning to like, and I know I said this last time on the last episode, but I'm truly beginning to like Bianca Belair on the main roster with the Street Profits. I think they play off each other well, and I think that's something that needs to continue.
For once, I think I've found someone that I think immediately fits a lot better on the main roster than they do in NXT.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying there isn't a vocal people in NXT that adore Bianca Belair, but for me, I feel like she just fits better on the main roster. Yeah. I feel like that's the right choice to keep her right there.
And they kind of have her. They kind of have her in a similar role to what Naomi was when they paired her with the Usos. Exactly. Similar to what Lita was when they paired her with Matt and Jeff Hardy. She's not a mouthpiece for them. She's not a valet. She's just a female wrestler who happens to roll with these two dudes.
Exactly. The other day, when you went to the bathroom mid recording, I had talked about managers for a minute, and I said the same thing. Like, it doesn't even have to be someone who necessarily did a lot. Like, what did Miss Elizabeth do for Macho Man other than just be that sort of figurehead for Macho Man?
1 second, pause. I'm going to say this very objectively. If you truly look at the Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth relationship, she caused that man more trouble than she did good. That man was constantly having to protect her and look out for her, and she was always a liability at ringside. Let's be real. Like if Miss Elizabeth had been a female wrestler who could handle herself, somebody like Scary Sherry was when she was with Macho Man, then she wouldn't have been as much of a liability. But her ability to really only be a valet cost him more than it helped him. So
that is true.
That's just subjective way of
looking at it. It's just the idea, though, that like, as a manager, it doesn't even take them doing something to add something.
Right. Oh,
and
just
that's how
they
I
need to give MVP
you are right.
a
You're
stable.
right in the way that. Oh yes, please. Like we talked about, dude. If you get MVP as the figurehead in a stable full of other like-minded individuals like MVP, there is magic.
Yeah. Oh, you know who I was thinking they could put with MVP? The new tag team of Ricochet and
Mustafa Ali.
No, Cedric Alexander.
Oh, sorry, I completely screwed up right there. I didn't even. Why did I say Mustafa? What the fuck?
Yeah, he's on SmackDown anyway, isn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they could put them with MVP. He could do the sports agent angle again and start signing up talent.
I heard the idea of if they ever wanted to take the Street Profits and make them into something really serious and gritty, they could have MVP be their Paul Ellering.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, wait, I like that.
Yeah, baby boy.
I like that.
Because he's got he's got the talking part down, but it's like, dude, I'm tired of watching you get in the ring and lose. I understand you jobbing for a bigger paycheck than what you would have gotten in other places, and you wanted to be back in WWE, just for the hell of it. But put him in a position where he's gonna be able to climb to that spotlight, because I could see him as a manager of a stable that wrestles every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Rocky Romero in New Japan. You know that, right?
Yeah. He doesn't wrestle every
how Rocky Romero does it. Yeah, exactly. He does it with Roppongi 2K. He'll manage, but he'll wrestle when he feels like it.
Exactly, and that's what I think they should do with MVP, is give him a stable of good young talent. You want another new nation? That's the man that can give you a new nation, a new updated Nation of Domination. You just got to put the right people with him. Give him Shelton Benjamin, give him Keith Lee,
Lashley,
give him Lashley, and then give him Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. But what female would you give him though? You gotta, in a group like that, you gotta have at least one female. I know the Nation didn't, but I think in today's world, in a group like that, you gotta have one female. So what female you putting with him?
Ooh, now that's okay. You know what? You want to straight off the top of the head answer? Mia Yim. You want something that takes a little bit of thought? Then, what's that one chick's name? I fuck around and call her Kmart Ember Moon sometimes.
Kaden Carter?
Yeah.
Only I was saying the same thing.
It would really give her a spot. I feel like she has the physicality of it down. She can work when or at least she's getting to the point where she can work better than someone like Carmella. And that's all I need, quite honestly.
You know who you could give him? You know who you truly could give him? Okay, this would break the whole theme of the Nation of Domination thing, but you could do that being that MVP is more of a sports agent than he is, a Muslim guy, or a religious leader. You know what I'm saying?
Then it is a statement, yeah.
Right. Since he's on Raw, you give him Shayna Baszler.
Ooh. Wait. I know there was one dude on the Nation of Domination that was like stark white years ago.
Oh yeah, dude. There were a couple of dudes on Nation of Domination that were white.
Yeah. But I know it's not something that would break it completely, but that is a really good idea, though.
Yeah. Because part of it is it would shut Baszler up. No offense to her, but she's just not good at promos. And no matter how much I see her, no matter how much more I see her, like, she just hasn't brought that emotion to the promo yet. Like, she just seems like an angry woman screaming, and I'm like, shut up.
Exactly. And who exactly really needs someone to speak for them on the mic instead of them do the talking?
Yep.
Lashley, Benjamin, and Baszler.
Yep, Baszler. And then, like I said, and then, yeah, man, you give him all of them, and then Ricochet and whatchamacallit for the tag team, and yeah. And then MVP can just do his thing and talk up everybody. Or if you really truly want to be badass, you could replace Baszler with Rhea Ripley making her main roster debut.
Exactly. And then for Survivor Series, fuck it, you can do Team MVP versus Team someone else.
Yep.
And then you immediately have that leeway right there.
And then I can see the storyline now. All of a sudden, you see Lashley and Shelton Benjamin just beating some dude down. Some random champ, like the U.S. champ or something. Boom, beats them down out of nowhere. They disappear. Don't nobody know what the hell's going on. The next thing you know, after beating an opponent in a match, Cedric Alexander and Ricochet just start beating down on a dude, leave him laying in the ring, walk off.
See?
You know what I'm saying? Then next thing you know, who was it? It was Benjamin, Lashley, and who was the third guy? Or are we saying that was the girl? It was Benjamin, Lashley, and then the girl. Okay.
Oh, Benjamin, Lashley, and Baszler. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then what you do is, instead of going for another third, all of a sudden now it's like last 15 minutes of the show, lights cut on, I'm coming. MVP walks down to the ring. Everybody's like, what the hell MVP want? He gets to cut in his promo. Next thing you know, he invites out Bobby Lashley. He invites out so-and-so. The last person he invites out is Baszler. And they could call themselves $1 Million Club, something like that. WWE, if you use this, I swear to God, I want my motherfucking wrestling check.
You better give me my royalty.
It's like real talk. Like, and I think they would be one of the most dominant. You could make them one of the most dominant stables ever. You could have MVP going after the. You could have what? You could have the whatchamacallit?
You could have each of them go for the tag titles.
Yeah.
They can have one dude go for the mainstay title, go for the world championship.
Yeah.
You can have one person go for the undercard, and then you have your woman go for the women's championship.
Yeah.
You have your Shayna go for that. And you get that sort of, even if you don't get the capital that the Undisputed Era had, it's that idea that you have all these people standing for one thing working in different places.
Yeah.
Like the importance of the stable and the group in wrestling, I feel like that shit has been lost, and it kills me.
And also how to build a proper stable. Like they don't look for characters that are similar. Like, I'll give them credit. Forgotten Sons, damn good. 3 guys with similar gimmicks, damn good stable. Now expound upon that. You know, I think that's what's missing in stables, is that they're happy with stables being 2 or maybe 3 people at most.
Yeah.
Stables should be 5, 6, 10, half your fucking roster. Remember the corporate ministry? I could have swore at one point there was like 15 people, you know?
All in the ring at once.
You know, so...
but I miss that shit, you know?
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to get that big, but I miss the 5, 6-man stables. I do. Exactly. I miss the stables with the talker, like a Paul Heyman. Then you had the tag team. Then you had the individual guys that were going to be going after the individual titles. Like I miss those kind of stables, the type of stables that at some point, if they're over enough, you can give that entire stable pretty much every belt without having to double belt anybody.
And you can depend on them and to put out good shit with it.
Exactly.
Like the gold standard of that to me will always be the 4 horsemen, because you have your leader, you have your tag team, and then you have your enforcer, and it's that simple. And
DX did a similar
that alone.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we just don't see enough of it. Like, even in AEW, like, I'm sorry, Dark Order is a very poorly built stable. Like,
exactly. Getting a bunch of heels together and slapping a name on it isn't building a stable. And I love Imperium, but that's what they did with Imperium.
Yep. Bunch of random
every faction. Exactly. every heel faction needs to be one heel guy with a belt thinking, oh, I need some help. And then suddenly that's the heel faction. Like, no, that's not a heel faction. That's just one dude with some cronies.
The thing that made the corporate ministry sick is Mabel, or Big Daddy V as he was known when he was with the corporate ministry, could handle himself on his own, and he had the group as backup. The Acolytes could handle themselves on their own, and they had the crew as backup. Kane was never part of corporate. But Undertaker,
when the Acolytes theme hit, somebody's about to get their ass beat.
You know, like that's the whole thing. People got to realize is when building a stable is you got to have a bunch of individual characters that are great characters on their own, but that they also work cohesively as a group. That's what made Nation of Domination so great. That's what made DX. When you think about the great stables, the Four Horsemen, that's what made them great. Evolution was the fact that they worked individually, but they also worked together. And they just don't have that nowadays. It's too hot a topic to have one guy turn on the other.
Yeah, and even then, it's like with those stables, they very rarely have unpredictable endings to them.
Right.
So I agree completely. It's like all these great things that you look back on, I feel like have been lost in wrestling on part because of the stable and the group focus is completely fucking gone. People will sit here and be like, oh, the best stable of this generation was the Shield. And I love the Shield, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I consider them a stable.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't feel right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, we need to go back to 1999 where we had NWO taking up half the roster, and then we had NWO Red Wolfpack taking up the other half of the roster.
Right.
I'm not saying you need to go back to that, but it's like, some group focus would be cool. That's what I like about New Japan, personally.
Maybe that's part of also what makes NXT. Because there are several kind of like small little stables in NXT, and I also thought the NXT has missed the boat on the opportunity for a couple of stables too. But like that's the whole thing about it is like as much as I hated the King Corbin stable because it was King Corbin, overall it was a great stable, storyline when they faced off with Roman Reigns.
Exactly. I hated the substance, but I liked the idea of the Revival being corporate little goonies,
Yeah. Oh, they could have given us the family, dude. I was mad that they didn't give us that. You could have given us Roman with the Usos paired with Nia Jax and Tamina, the family, and Naomi, and you could have made them the family. Now you got one woman to go after the women's title in Nia Jax. You got two other women to go after the women's tag team titles. You got the Usos to go after the men's tag team title, and Roman to go after the top belt. The family.
And goddamn it, make them all heel.
Thank you.
And then you have something that'll shock the wrestling fucking world.
I think that would be just amazing. And then, since he recently said he's open to it, then you bring back The Rock to face off with them. That would be amazing.
Okay. That would be the ultimate wrench into the loop.
Like that would be awesome, dude. The Rock comes back and fights on whatchamacallit side. No. Here's the great one, and this would be totally predictable but totally fun. You have them facing off against a WWE faction, right, with a mystery partner. It's that Survivor Series, right? The family versus the WWE, best and brightest with a mystery partner. The mystery partner is The Rock, right?
Oh fuck, okay.
Who mid-match turns on them and reveals that he's a member of the family too. Matter of fact, he's been running the family the whole time.
Oof. It was me, Austin all along, but completely fucking shaded differently.
Oh yeah.
Speaking my language.
Oh.
No, fucking
Tell me I can't
think about it and
Come
it's
on.
like you that is some good shit though. You put that group together of the family.
Yeah.
We've been hearing those rumblings of Reigns versus Roman at Mania. I mean, Roman versus Reigns at Mania, bro.
You mean
Roman versus The Rock at fucking Mania.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You would have to build
hear
up.
rumblings of that.
That's why I say
And-
you started. Oh well. See, that's the thing about it. Here's the thing: is you started at SummerSlam with that storyline that I just laid out, where The Rock turns on WWE and announces that like he's the member of the family, right? Then to get Rock Reigns at WrestleMania, you have Rock go through a thing where basically he expects Roman Reigns to do the finger touch of death from WCW.
Oh fuck!
But Reigns doesn't do it.
Reigns doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, so Rock snaps, and then Reigns kind of separates from the family, and then that starts your Rock Reigns feud, with The Rock being backed by Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Tamina, Nia Jax, and Naomi.
That's interesting, because I was about to take it in the exact opposite direction.
Okay.
I don't know about you, because like I've been hearing these rumblings of Roman versus Rockmania, and I'm just like, no, fuck it. If you ever put that in my face, I swear to God.
Yeah.
Because I know they're going to give me face versus face.
Right.
In a battle. But what if Reigns was the corporeal leader of the family, and they go into Mania with Rock as the people's champ,
as
trying to dethrone Roman as the god of the family, like the new golden goose.
Okay, that could work too.
And you go in with, instead of face Rocky putting over face Roman as the big hero, or heel Rocky putting over Roman as the big hero, you have heel Roman completely dousing out the flames of the People's Champion. And suddenly, Roman isn't the new Cena, Roman is the new Randy Orton.
Ah, that would be savage. That would be savage. All right, so before we move on, last thing I'll throw out there. So I saw this tweet, or this Facebook picture of a tweet online, where somebody suggested, hold on, I'm going to see if I can pull up the exact tweet, just so I can read it correctly. Where is it? Let's see. She commented on it there. Yeah. All right. It says, I've had this thought today. WWE should have had all wrestlers play as themselves in the latest 2K game and streamed it, but honor all results as real no matter the bugs. When we go back to live wrestling, anybody who had the belts on the game would be champion moving forward. Just embrace the chaos.
That's fucking perfect. I would kill for that. Bro, have you ever played universe mode? And
yes.
Like just put in like a regular universe, right? And then you skip forward by like 5 years, and then it's like you have fucking World Heavyweight Champion Primo defending against Brock Lesnar, and you have like United States Champion Stacy Keibler defending against fucking like Scotty 2 Hotty or some shit.
No, I've never simulated that far forward and seen what happens. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, you get dumb shit like that, and you get tag teams like fucking like The Big Show and like Hornswoggle or some shit. It's always really fun, and that's what I imagine. Like you end up with some crazy ass off the wall shit like that.
Well, did I tell you guys last week? I don't remember if we talked about this last week, but I saw some memes about they were talking about, since Rob Gronkowski is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer and he's coming out of retirement, and WWE put out the tweet saying that Gronkowski is still expected to defend the 24/7 championship as contracted.
Go on.
That they said it should be one of two ways. Either Gronkowski should score a touchdown, right? Once he scored a touchdown, while he's doing his touchdown dance, somebody comes and rolls him up, and the ref rips off his NFL logo and just shows a WWE logo, and he gets pinned 1, 2, 3 to lose the belt. Or somebody said something about Rob Gronkowski just catches a pass and is running for a touchdown, and somebody comes and spears him and pins him, and then it's the Saints safety, and he takes off his helmet, and it's R-Truth.
No. I'll piss myself, bro. If he does anything and you get to see R-Truth or Mojo Rawley fucking like roll his ass up in the middle of the field, I'll piss my pants.
Oh man,
I'll take that shit.
Well, say now, what's hilarious is that these were all pitched by fans. We all know the NFL would never allow that to happen, but it would be funny to see. I think that we have a very good chance of seeing a segment where Rob Gronkowski is doing a press conference and R-Truth comes out of nowhere, or some other wrestler comes out of nowhere and pins him for the 24/7 championship. We have a better chance of seeing that than anything on field. But
you know what? You ain't even fucking wrong.
Yeah. But I do, congratulations to him on coming out of retirement, but I do find it funny that it happened right as he's the 24/7 champion. I'm wondering what WWE thinks about that, based on the contract that they have with him.
Oh, man.
Oh,
the situation with Gronk is interesting, but I personally like him on WWE screens. Yeah. I was actually excited to see a little bit more of him.
I thought he was going to wrestle a little bit more.
Year now?
Somebody had me dying because they were like, when you have to unretire from football because you're fucking you hosted WrestleMania and it went like shit. And it was like, nah, dude, he actually did a decent job hosting WrestleMania. I'm like, WrestleMania as a whole was pretty good. I was like, I thought it focused more on in-ring action than storyline, and I thought that was a good takeaway from it. I also saw
that more and more, dude.
Go ahead.
I'm starting to hear people just left and right, I'm really enjoying the focus on in-ring work rather than the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, maybe this wasn't such a bad thing for wrestling after all. Shit.
Yeah. And that's where people. I tell you, the actual wrestling fans are separated from people who like watching the drama of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the people who actually like in-ring work are all saying this isn't that bad right now. This is a pretty good
product.
Product. It's all the other people that don't like it, or that only like wrestling for the drama part of it, that are that are all complaining. But yes, folks, and I made the announcement earlier. AEW has officially been told that they are officially allowed to go back to record or shooting live episodes in Jacksonville, Florida, at their original spot where they normally do. I believe without fans at this point. But they do have the ability to go back to doing live shows. So, they can thank WWE for that. Because if WWE hadn't have fought for WWE to be essential and still shoot their live stuff, AEW wouldn't have a case to state as to why they should still be doing their stuff.
Yeah, if Vince wasn't representing wrestling as a whole where he is, then I'm sure it would look a lot fucking different whether anyone wants to admit it or not.
Yep. So, no way 20 years ago wrestling is considered essential. Under any circumstance. No way 20, 30 years ago is wrestling considered essential. So, you can thank Vince McMahon for that, you ungrateful AEW bastards. Anyway, but AEW Dynamite was
Speaking of which, you want to get into that?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Dynamite was pretty good this week. I enjoyed it. Like you said, the Matt Hardy bit where they're separating the Damascus from Matt Hardy, from Broken Matt Hardy. Yeah, I think he can play the characters really well. So I think it'll go over well. I enjoyed the Darby Allin Sammy Guevara match, and let me say I was very surprised that Sammy Guevara lost.
Yeah, exactly.
I expected him to win that, but I guess not.
Yeah, I thought they were going to strap the rocket to Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
I'm really digging what they're doing with Matt Hardy. I like the idea that we have all these different entities in the form of Damascus. We have Damascus, Broken Matt, fucking Abraham Lincoln, and all of those weird things all clashing into the same body, and we get that humanizing segment showing that Matt Hardy as a human being is completely separate from all that. I like that. It's interesting.
Exactly.
It makes him seem less like an interdimensional lord and more of just a complete fucking schizo, and I think I like that.
Well, and here's the thing with it. I love what AEW is doing, but this doesn't fly the same in WWE. Hence why Vince probably turned it down. Not because it's not a good thing, but Vince knows what his fan base likes and doesn't for the most part. He doesn't necessarily know what they want, but he knows what will go over with them and what won't. Alright, and to be honest with you, most of the stuff that hasn't gone over and didn't go over hard with WWE Universe were the talent's idea of a character that they wanted to do. And it just didn't connect. I'm not saying Vince has created a bunch of stars, because he hasn't. Most of the people who are stars with Vince, once again, Attitude Era, even pre-Attitude Era, the ones that were truly successful and long-lasting, you see, were themselves amped up to 10. Stone Cold, Rock, Hulk Hogan. If you ever watch Hogan Knows Best, the reality show, the bro was Hulk Hogan all the time.
Hulk Hogan is the character. Hulk Hogan is the human being.
Right. And when he was Hulk Hogan in the ring, he was just Hulk Hogan amped up to 10. He was Terry Hogan amped up to 10. Oh, by the way, between now and next week, just in case you want to get caught up, there are approximately, I want to say, 7 new episodes of Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
That I'm going to be checking out season 2. And we can review those within the next couple episodes. I'll give you about 2 weeks. And we'll talk about those. I'm going to watch them in this on this upcoming week.
Sweet, I'm down.
So,
dude, I heard someone once fucking say, someone was like, I really hate when wrestling fans like they have a wrestler that they like, and then when they move to WWE and they have a new name, they still call them by their
original name,
by their indie names. Someone was like, "Oh man, I loved Terry Boulder at WrestleMania 3 because that was fucking Hulk Hogan's name before he was Hulk Hogan."
It's just, you know what? It's really more so for themselves that they do it than for the actual person. It's to say, "See, I know a lot about wrestling. I'm cool."
I know his name was Steen before. Like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I only call Kevin Owens Kevin Steen when I'm mad at him. It's like your mama using your real name. I'm like, that damn Kevin Steen.
Yeah, it's like when they call you by your full name instead, right?
Yep.
It took me a while to figure out, do you know why Kevin Owens became Kevin Owens when he went to NXT? Dude named himself after his son.
Really? His son?
Before he went to WWE, he had his first kid and he named him Owen.
Kevin Owens.
So when he went to NXT, he stopped being Kevin Steen and he became Kevin Owens.
Nice.
Yeah, I always thought that was hella sweet.
That's a nice heartfelt message in general. Like now you can tell his son anytime. Like, yeah, your daddy's ring name in WWE was based off of you.
Some cool shit. I like it. Yeah.
And I hate this. Okay, so I was watching this thing the other day, right? It was a couple weeks ago. It had Baron Corbin in there. It was about the NXT, and I think I talked about it, FCW.
Mm.
People can't tell me that WWE doesn't listen to their talent, because even Baron Corbin and a lot of the newer talent were saying that when they were down there in NXT and in developmental, they would pitch, like they were given a sheet where they could write down 30 names that they would like to, that they thought their character should be called. And if WWE Creative liked one of them, they would use it. But if they didn't, they would suggest something else. That sounds to me like they have input in the creative process.
That sounds to me like they have input on their character or something, like they haven't been screaming that they don't have.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, ultimately, it's not that I'm pro WWE and against the talent. It's just that I'm like, if y'all are going to talk about it, tell the truth. Like, give people a real glimpse behind, or don't give them a glimpse behind at all. Don't give them a skewed glimpse based off of your bad experiences. But, bro, you know what I did watch that blew my mind the other day? Just so everybody knows, part of the Fox deal with WWE, Fox airs some WWE Network original content material like most days of the week. at least a couple hours most days of the week. FS1 and FS2 air like WWE 24, where they do the behind the scenes with certain wrestlers right before like big matches and big events and stuff like that. Well, this last week they had the Women's Evolution Day on Tuesday, and I just happened to tune into the beginning of it, and it was the Ronda Rousey WWE, like the little doc that they did that kind of showed her all the way from, you know, her first appearance at Royal Rumble all the way through her last appearance wrestling at WrestleMania in the Triple Threat match.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Ronda had as much of an impact as she had backstage. And watching her in some real moments with other wrestlers, like there's a real moment towards the end of the thing where Seth Rollins is like, thank you. Thank you for bringing, you know, your notoriety and more eyes to our sport. And, you know, and thank you for how you did it, you know. And as much as I bagged on Ronda Rousey, especially during her tenure as champion, seeing how much work she put in really gave me a new respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I bagged on Ronda Rousey, and hard I bagged on Ronda Rousey. Consistently. Throughout her tenure. Like, I honestly thought that Ronda Rousey would have been better suited going through the NXT route. I've always said Shayna Baszler is what Ronda Rousey should have been had she chose to actually want to become a wrestler.
That is true.
You know, and so, or at least character-wise, you know, Baszler is what Rousey should have been. But when I look back over that year and I watch it from the perspective of that documentary, I'm like, I understand a lot of things that I didn't at the time. You know, and I'm not saying I want her back in wrestling, because I truly don't. Like, Ronda Rousey wasn't exactly the best wrestler to watch. She was very limited in her movesets, and maybe if she had stuck around for a little bit longer, she would have been able to. She was a great athlete, so she could have expounded upon that. But she was just very limited in her ability to work with females and in her moveset. So it didn't make her matches that enjoyable to watch.
I think it boiled down to that for me as well. But go on.
But yeah, to see the heart and effort that she put into it, and how much of a fan she is of just wrestling, and like how that's a like dream experience. You know, go work for the WWE for a year and actually be a main event talent. You know, and be thrown into that spotlight. And now that I see it from that angle, I see that I have a lot more respect for her and how she handled it all. I don't know if I could handle that, you know, being taken from being like new to this business and understanding how this business works and how most people have paid their dues to get to where they're at right now. You don't just step into the main event spotlight. You know, and she understood that and humbly accepted it because it was where Tripp and Steph wanted her. And also, by the way, let me say this real quick. Stephanie McMahon is a big bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I've always known
I have
she
people
was
tell
big.
me all the time, like, oh, Stephanie's the nicest out of the I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Stephanie is a stone cold, a heartless motherfucker.
No, I'm not even talking about like attitude wise. I'm talking about height wise. That's a big bitch. Like, bro, like watch that thing and see her standing next to Ronda Rousey. Now I know Ronda Rousey isn't exactly that tall, but like Ronda Rousey barely comes up to her shoulders.
Jesus, really? I thought Steph was shorter than that this whole fucking time.
Like,
I thought she was like normally sized.
Like I want to say Stephanie McMahon is like 6'1", maybe 6 foot.
No shit. Jesus. Steph. Like, I'll never forget that time when she was like, we work with Susan G. Komen because it's good for image, and I was like, damn,
okay,
that's kind
then
of
Ronda Rousey must be tiny then.
Is she?
It says Stephanie McMahon is only 5'9". And Ronda looked like she barely came up to her shoulder.
Ronda's not very tall, though, if I'm not mistaken.
5'7". Really? There's only 2 inches of height difference between them two? Stephanie must have been wearing heels then.
Probably. No, that sounds about right.
Because Stephanie looked like she was significantly taller, like head and shoulders taller than Ronda Rousey, not 2 inches.
Jesus.
Anyway.
I agree, though. I mean, looking at it after the fact, I had to sit down and be like, maybe with what they did with Ronda Rousey, it was built and written the way it was because they know how important Ronda Rousey was, and, you can't really take too many risks with that. You have to hold that very closely, and you have to watch very closely how you present it. And it took me a long time to realize that.
Well, not just that.
It would have.
I was going to say, not just that. It's also the fact that Ronda Rousey is a star. She was a star before she ever hit the WWE. She was a mega star before she ever hit the WWE. So you kind of have to recognize that stardom, but at the same time, bring her along slowly because she is new to this business.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, you would need to very much so put her immediately in the spotlight. It's just the reason, like the same reason why AJ Styles didn't go the NXT route. He was a big enough star that he had the option for him to be able to say, "Nah, I want to go straight to the main roster or nothing." And they were like, "Okay, main roster it is." I'm pretty sure Joe had that opportunity and chose to go to NXT first because there was probably people that he wanted to work with.
You know how Joe came in, right? Do you remember when Joe debuted for NXT?
Yeah, he came out and beat up Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he came up and fought Owens after TakeOver, right? Yeah. He was only scheduled for that appearance. As in, when he signed his contract, he was only scheduled to come out and beat the shit out of Owens. And he was supposed to leave and never come back, and that was supposed to be it.
Wow.
But they saw what he did, and they were like, do you want a contract?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the crowd reaction to him, because they exploded when Joe hit the scene.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, they exploded, and immediately the Joe's going to kill you chant started going like fucking wildfire. Yeah. But that he was only scheduled for that, and then lo and behold, dude would become a 2-time NXT champion.
Yep.
But he was a very special case, and I've never forgotten that little known fact.
That's insane. But that's how it can be sometimes, especially when you're already so over as an individual talent before you ever get to WWE, like Joe was. A lot of people don't understand. Here's one of my files from the Doldrums AEW group things. Is the thing I've been seeing a lot of in these comments that are killing me, and I think I might have even covered this before, but I've been seeing it even more so still. WWE's about to go out of business, man. Tony Khan will be able to buy WWE in the next year or so, for pennies on the dollar. I've had to share this article with multiple idiots, stupid idiots, as Chris Jericho would say.
Stupid idiot.
Over the past few years, or past few weeks, that WWE did almost $1 billion in revenue last year, and did almost over $200 million in profit, and that's after paying all the wrestlers and all the expenses, etc. I don't see a company that just did those kind of numbers going out of business anytime in the near future. And that was just their domestic numbers.
Untouchable.
People need to understand, it does not matter what happens with the economy. Unless the economy completely collapses and nobody has any money that's worth anything, WWE will survive. They're but their stock took a dip. Yeah, and?
Do you think their stock taking... If every company ended after their stock took a dip, shit would look a lot different right now, my friend.
Oh, there's a lot of these names you wouldn't be hearing anymore. You would never hear JCPenney's, Mervyn's, any of those big chain stores, Walmart. You wouldn't hear anything if as soon as their stock took a dip, they went out of business. People don't understand. Once you're a publicly traded company, you're almost guaranteed that you're almost never going to go out of business. Something catastrophic has to happen. Nothing like, AEW opened up. No, something catastrophic has to happen in order for WWE to go out of. They are officially a publicly traded business. on the New York Stock Exchange. Like, real talk. In order for them to go
actual
out of business
shit.
Yeah, like shit has to happen. Now, AEW can have a bad fucking 6 months and end up going out of business. Just like I've explained to people multiple times, just because Tony Khan is a billionaire doesn't mean he wants to spend $1 billion on AEW.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
he has a lot of money, but you best believe he's not going to invest as much money into it as someone like Vince would, because he hasn't cultivated that product the same way.
Exactly. So there, just understand that, people. Understand that.
But while we're on this note of hating on shit, I want to say that, like, I don't know about you, but am I the only one that openly, like, when I see Charlotte Flair on NXT TV, it's like, why the fuck is this happening? Who did this?
I can understand why you would be like that. I don't know. I think
I have this, like, I'm sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
I have this thing where it's like, at very least, when it was Finn Balor going to NXT, it's like, it feels like that's where he properly belongs, at least, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it feels like that is his place.
And it helped that you hadn't seen him on SmackDown or Raw, really, outside of sparingly over the past couple of months. Like,
exactly.
it gave him a home where you knew he would instantaneously be used and be given an opportunity to shine as one of the top guys.
Exactly. But I feel like Charlotte is there with the opposite intention. I feel like she is there just to, like, give her that worth in that title.
Right.
It doesn't feel like I'm there to see any good matches or see something fucking compelling.
Yeah.
I see Charlotte put fucking Mia Yim down, and it's like, I'm not even a big fan of Mia Yim, but like, what? Yeah, it's like, what's the point, bro? You're putting down your new guys for someone that is
I don't
more
understand.
or less already people are already getting tired of her.
I don't quite understand their history.
Yeah, I don't get that. She was like, you made a star out of me and you helped me in fun. I was like, what the fuck is that happen?
Like, according to their history thing, like, supposedly Mia Yim was the first wrestler that Charlotte ever wrestled in NXT. I was unaware that Mia Yim had been around in NXT that damn long.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, didn't she, like, debut within 2 years ago?
I thought so, but
not in 2016.
They're saying evidently she's been with the company for a few years now, because she was Charlotte's first match 5 years ago when Charlotte first came into the company. So you're kind of throwing me for a loop here. Did y'all just sign Mia Yim? Was she with the company and then she got let go and now she's coming back?
Or she been here the whole fucking time?
Has she been there the whole fucking time? Exactly. So, I don't know. That's where they lost me with that shit. But I'll tell you this right now.
Yeah.
I want to bask in his glory. Bask in his glory. That was the other dude outside of Bobby Lashley and what
fucking,
you call it.
You brought up Lee, yeah.
Keith Lee. Yes. My North American champion.
Keith Lee?
Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Love him.
And love that man. That man knows how to carry a match. Like I said, he's not long before we're going to see him on the main roster. Just period. People understand that. Like, by next year's WrestleMania, Keith Lee will have made his main roster official, like, I'm staying here debut.
And it'll be fucking great.
And we will all bask in his glory.
I think he might manage to fit in to the main roster as well as the Dream might.
Yep.
If not even better.
Oh,
and that's some shit, and I'm ready for it.
I would love to see them as a tag team on the main roster, kind of like they did with Aleister Black and Ricochet.
I'll fucking take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
And Dream can call them the I don't know. I can't even think of a name.
Damn. That would take a while to think of something like that. But I don't know how I feel about the Drake Maverick angle.
It kind of seems like they're trying to play off the popularity of that video that he cut.
Yeah, if this is a work and that video was put there for the work, I'm just going to say straight up, that's kind of fucking scummy.
Yeah.
But if this is him putting out that video and then putting someone over and leaving, then this is immediately different.
Right. But he said he had 3 matches left. So they get the round robin. They get one once they face each other. I think they face the people within their division once. And then they face the people in the other group. They face one person in the other group because he said he had 3 matches. And we all know he's not winning the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
So, like, he said he had 3 matches. So he definitely is guaranteed 2. And then I think he gets one within the tournament that he'll probably lose. I just hope he doesn't lose all 3. That would suck.
That would be kind of sad.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of sad. I wouldn't put it past him to do that. But I don't know how I feel about that angle quite yet. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I'll tell you an angle that I do like that they're doing right now, and they just kind of set this up a couple weeks ago, but I think that it's going to end up. I think it was a storyline that was probably supposed to go on probably closer to SummerSlam time. But the Fiend taking on Braun Strowman. I'm
very interested in that.
And they played
the little.
Go ahead.
The planting the little black mask that Braun used to wear.
Yeah. And also the whole that they're going with the proper angle of like you were once one of my minions and then you left me and now you got something I want. So yeah, like that whole angle, beautiful, very well done.
I dig it.
Keep it up.
That's exactly what we had talked about on the show a little bit ago. If you remember, right before that happened.
Yep. Oh man.
Oh, that shit.
So did you watch the Triple H? Whatchamacallit on Friday?
The tribute.
Yeah.
I did not get to see any of that.
It to me it was classic DX and Triple H. It was actually quite funny. Like there's a sequence where Triple H is standing in the ring, right, and Shawn Michaels has come out and joined him, right. And it's hilarious because Shawn Michaels is cutting his promo to the camera, right? He goes, and if you're not down with Triple H, we got 2 words for you. And Triple H goes to put his arm around him, and Shawn Michaels pushes him off and goes, social distancing. The 2 words are social distancing. They back. And I was just like, classic DX, you know. But they go back and forth, and Shawn's showing some of Triple H's best moments and so on and so forth. And there's a scene where Shawn starts talking about Stephanie, and all of a sudden Stephanie calls on video call, right? And Triple H like shows the camera shows the screen to the camera, and he's like, "Yeah, babe, no, man, no, like, yeah, Shawn isn't here talking mess about you." And Shawn's like sitting behind the camera, like mocking her, right? And she's like, "I'm watching it live right now on TV. I'm looking at him make fun of me. You tell that bald-headed son of a..." And Triple H cuts her off. I was like,
that bald-headed.
Yeah, and then he gets a phone call from Ric Flair, and then from one of the lead trainer dude, I forget what his name is, on video call, and they show all that. But the best moment of the night is Vince McMahon comes out and kind of gives this like backhanded compliment of a speech about Triple H that just had me on the floor. And you got to watch it to see the shit that Vince says. But the greatest part about it was the telltale end where Vince is like, "Okay, guys, wrap it up. You're done. You're done." And Triple H is like, "Really?" Like he's just cutting us off like that, and all of a sudden the house lights start shutting down, and the next time, and all of a sudden it's just pitch black, and Triple H's like, "Really?" Is the last thing you hear right before they cut off air. I was like,
Fucking great.
Vince shut all that shit down. Like, y'all done. Wrap it up. Let's go.
Good night.
Oh man.
Great.
Yeah, it made for great TV, just for, you know, not necessarily being a great wrestling segment. If you understand the history between Vince McMahon and Triple H, like, you understand that, like, it was all done with love and it was all great.
Yeah.
Man.
No, fucking Vince McMahon put out that tweet and he was like, you know, 20 years later, no one would have been able to tell what you've become. 25 years to my son-in-law, Triple H.
Yep.
And people are losing their shit because fucking Donald Trump retweeted that shit and was like, "Triple H is a winner."
Yeah,
like, this fucking dude.
Shit.
I remember
there's
this picture.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying people just need to get over the fact that Donald Trump is a part of is friends with Vince McMahon. People just need to get over it. Like they've been friends since way back, since before all this presidential shit. So it really doesn't bother me, that there's an association there.
It goes down to business, not politics. Nothing more than that.
So,
but like one of my favorite pictures is the one where it's like there's a picture of Donald J. Trump sitting with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, some of the McMahon family, Triple H, and I think some of Triple H's kids. So of course it's Vince, Steph, Triple H, and Shane, and then Trump.
Yeah.
And someone was like, if you look at the head count in this picture, including everyone in it, 60% of the people in this picture, including the President of the United States, have gotten hit with a stone cold stunner.
Yep. Dead truth. Dead truth in that, baby. Ain't nothing but truth there. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, wrestling has brought us some of our greatest memories.
Funny.
So,
yeah.
All right, man. We're getting close to that 2-hour mark, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. I don't think there's anything we missed.
Yeah, we got it.
What's up?
Ooh.
Yeah, we got it all.
I'm ready.
All right, so why don't you hit us with your wrestler of the week, and then we'll call it a night.
I'm so gladly. This dude may not be my favorite wrestler, like one of my personal favorites, but the more I think about it, the more I realize how much of a difference it's going to be now that things are changed. So my wrestler of the week is one Zack Ryder. And personally, I grew up with him as the Edgehead, as Curt Hawkins, the dudes who grew their hair out, long blonde hair and more gray beanies like Edge, and followed Edge around in the Edgeheads. And then I don't know where this dude just comes in on WWE CW television as the Zack Ryder now, with the spiked up hair, the glasses, and the woo-woo-woo. And from that point on, it's been a fucking experience. I remember there was a time where it was just "We Want Ryder" chants left and right everywhere. And oh shit, where'd you go?
Sorry, I had to go take care of something real quick.
Oh, it's all good. My wrestler of the week is Zack Ryder.
Nice.
Just telling you again, just in case. I started with a little bit going into how I was exposed to him as a kid, and how like there was that time period where it was just "We Want Ryder" chants everywhere. And I look back like a few years ago when Cody Rhodes was in that interview, and someone was like, if there was one person in WWE that you could sign, who would it be? And he instantly was like, oh, Zack Ryder.
And they probably will.
And like at the time, I was like, fuck, that's never going to happen. Like, Zack Ryder is the WWE guy. He's not going anywhere. And lo and behold, now it's almost rest assured to happen.
That's insane.
And it's gonna be different seeing him and not hearing woo woo woo, seeing the fist bump. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be different. And I feel like Zack Ryder deserves to be wrestler of the week, not because he's the best wrestler on the face of this planet, but because he has encapsulated wrestling in being a complete dork, but somehow ending up at one point as one of the most popular motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, he had his moment.
Exactly. And my favorite thing to say about Zack Ryder is that when you look at his past WrestleMania wins, Zack Ryder is a professional and not doing anything all year than coming in at Mania and winning a fucking title.
Yeah, he is.
And then just dipping.
Yep.
Mania 32, he did it with the IC title. Mania 34, him and Curt Hawkins came in with no build-up and won the fucking Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
This is what Ryder does, and it's great. But I'm curious as the direction they'll take him with any given company. But my rest of the week is Long Island Ice former internet champion Zack Goddamn Ryder.
There you go. All right, so that'll do it for us here tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Later on tonight, there should be Now versus Then. Tune in next week as well. Dirty Talk 101 is back, Vegas. Check out the episodes from earlier today of Brick House 2.0, West Coast Bias, and Inspiration Radio. And then also going ahead and check out on Thursday, we've got Lovely Radio with Miss Toy. Friday, we got KD5P putting together some stuff for you there. And Saturday we got Mr. Deacon's Experience, and then we should be back on Sunday, along with those other great shows I mentioned, with the Cheap Pop Podcast. So that's it for us. Any last words for him?
You know how it goes. My people, stay home, be safe, don't take any risks. You know how it goes.